Hello to you all, welcome, it's Jared here at Intermission Tours. We are on the north bank of the River Thames. A couple of police cars going past, hopefully the sound isn't too dodgy. We're here near the Millennium Footbridge, but more importantly, we're here outside the College of Arms, which deals with heraldry and ancestry. Daniel Craig, who was the most recent James Bond, after he filmed No Time to Die, the final Bond film he made, was given the Companion of the Order of St. Michael and St. George. And you get that when you retire from the Secret Service. In the film, On Her Majesty's Secret Service in the 1960s, George Lazenby's only Bond movie, he was given exactly the same honour. So as we said, College of Arms for heraldry, jousting. First time this was mentioned and created was in the 1480s by King Richard III. The building itself, the first one, was destroyed in the Great Fire of London, 1666. And then in the 1670s it was rebuilt by Maurice Emmet, who was the royal bricklayer. It deals with pageants, processions, flags and banners for jousting, state funerals. But not only that, it also deals in a lot of detective work and, on a lighter note, people researching their family tree. So this is where you would come to get a coat of arms. If you have the same name as somebody and you're researching your family tree, it doesn't mean you can wear it. You have to prove your descendants. In 1586, a colony of settlers in Roanoke Island in North Carolina gave a coat of arms. This is where we use the phrase, the right to bear arms. They called them armigers. Any clan or person who was allowed to use a heraldic achievement. Then the later colonists, namely George Washington in the 1780s, of course he had English ancestors, and they bore arms incorporating the stars and stripes. And both of those were of course used to create the design of the United States flag. So if you get an honour from the crown, from the royal family, or you get a civil or a military commission, if you are a public or a charitable service, you would come here. If you wanted a seal of approval, you would come here. Banking companies, shipping companies, insurance companies. If you just wanted to give a sign of quality to your organisation, you would come here and apply for a coat of arms. The department stores Marks and Spencer or M&S and Tesco both have coats of arms. Of course, we're in front of St. Paul's Cathedral, built in 1708, built on the top of Ludgate Hill, which is the highest point in the financial district, the old city of London. St. Paul's is dedicated to Paul the Apostle, and the original St. Paul's was situated here in the year 604. To the right is St. Paul's Churchyard, the centre of the book trade, which then later on moved a bit further behind to Paternoster Row. This St. Paul's is 365 feet at the top of the dome, or 111 metres. The previous St. Paul's, which was destroyed in the Great Fire of London, we believe had a height of 500 feet. But the previous St. Paul's, as I mentioned, AD 604, burnt to the ground in 1087. They started work straight away on the new one. Not consecrated until 1240. By the 1500s, it was decaying. There was looting, there was defacing. Christopher Wren put wooden scaffolding all the way around to tidy up the outside of it. So it was completely covered in wood. And then the Great Fire occurred, 1666. And it compromised the foundations of St. Paul's Church. And it crumbled to the ground. 1668, the work started on the new St. Paul's Cathedral. And this particular building was finished in 1708. It survived the Blitz in 1940 and 1941, over 70 days of continuous bombing. It was partly struck by bombs. It's an event space. It's a museum. It's a church. There are many state funerals and royal weddings here. The most famous, probably historically, was in 1981. The marriage of our now King Charles and the Princess of Wales, Princess Diana. Was going to be at Westminster, but it was such a popular occasion, and at St. Paul's there are more seats, so they decided to have it here. The first person to be buried in St. Paul's was Christopher Wren. Of course, it's iconic in film and TV. Seen in the film Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock Holmes film, Thor, Lawrence of Arabia. This is St. Paul's Churchyard. This was home to the booksellers. This was the first place in London, we believe, Shakespeare's first folio, which was printed in 1623, 7 years after he died, was first sold. Now, if you think about the idea of bookselling in William Shakespeare's time, the 1600s, a book was 10 times more expensive than entry to the ground floor of the Globe Theatre, to the Yard. It cost a penny, about £4 or £5 in today's money, to enter a theatre, a playhouse. And it cost 10 pence to buy a book in St. Paul's Churchyard. Imagine going to see Phantom of the Opera this afternoon for a matinee, or this evening, and the ticket, let's say, a nice reasonable but quite expensive £100 for a good seat. Imagine thinking after the show, I'd like to buy the book of that. I'd like to buy the book of Phantom of the Opera, the script. And imagine the script of Phantom of the Opera was £1,000, 10 times more. Well, that's the way it was 400 years ago. 90% of London could not read or write, had not been to school, so the idea of selling a book of a play, it didn't seem the right idea. You went to a play, you bought entry to a theatre, and a writer then, consequently, when he was writing a play, would write a play for performance, not to sell. 7 years after Shakespeare died, two of his acting company, Hemming and Condell, got together 36 of his manuscripts and sold them as a book, the first folio. 18 of those plays had never been in print. The first fixed locations for books in St. Paul's Churchyard were the first in the country. Most people would drag anything to market that they needed selling. But the paper manufacturers, the ink sellers, the stationers, they found that their items were getting damaged. They were a bit more delicate than other items sold at markets. And so they asked the local authorities, look, we sell paper, we don't want that to get dirty. We sell quills, we sell books, which are valued items. Can we have fixed locations where we literally set up shop and lock everything up at the end of the afternoon? And they were allowed to, so they had the first fixed locations to shops, or as we would now call, the first stationary shops in London. So the word stationery for paper, pen, ink, writing equipment, the word stationery comes from the first stationary, immovable shops in London. And it all happened here in St. Paul's Churchyard. Very busy afternoon, as usual, around this area. People on their lunch breaks, the city workers all around St. Paul's Cathedral come here because it's nice and relaxing in later summer. But I do hope you can join me again on another of these walks around London. I do so enjoy doing them. If you haven't already, do subscribe to my channel at Intermission Tours, and do watch out for more snippets of London, more shorts about Shakespeare, more iconic buildings, more ghost stories which I read from home, and some live tours which are in the live section of my YouTube channel. You're very welcome to contribute to support the work on Buy Me a Coffee or PayPal. I do always appreciate that, and it gives me more chance to create more content for us in the future. And you'll see the links of that coming up now. So thank you very much. Lots of love to you all. Have a wonderful day, afternoon, night, morning, wherever you are in the world. I will see you very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.